You're probably using ChatGPT on your phone right now, typing away on that same glass screen we've been tapping for the last 15 years. And if you're like me, you might be wondering, is this really the best we can do? Is typing prompts into a chatbot the future of AI? Well, I've been diving deep into what Sam Altman and Jony Ive have been secretly building for the past 2 years, and I found something that completely changes the game. They're not just making another app or gadget, they're literally trying to kill the smartphone as we know it. Welcome back to BitBiasedAI, where we do the research so you don't have to. Join our community of AI enthusiasts. Click the newsletter link in the description for weekly analysis delivered. So in this video, I'm going to reveal exactly what OpenAI's mysterious new device actually does, why Apple's legendary designer left a trillion-dollar company to build it, and most importantly, how this palm-sized gadget could completely transform the way you interact with AI in your daily life. And here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't some far-off concept. They're already manufacturing it with Apple's own suppliers, and I've got the leaked details about what makes this thing so revolutionary. First up, let's talk about how this unlikely partnership even happened, because the backstory here is wild. OpenAI's lightning-fast rise and the Musk drama. Nobody talks about, picture this. It's 2015, and Elon Musk is sitting in a room with Sam Altman and a few other tech titans, pledging $1 billion to save humanity from AI. Yes, the same Elon Musk who now tweets about AI being our biggest existential threat. He literally co-founded OpenAI to prevent the AI apocalypse. But here's the plot twist nobody saw coming. Just 3 years later, Musk storms out. He claims it's about conflicts with Tesla's AI work, but insiders tell a different story. Some say he wanted more control. Others whisper about disagreements over OpenAI's direction. Whatever the real reason, Musk's exit might have been the best thing that ever happened to OpenAI. Think about it. In just the few years after Musk left, OpenAI went from a research lab nobody had heard of to the company that broke the internet with ChatGPT. We're talking about a product that hit 1 million users in 5 days. Instagram took 2.5 months. Twitter took 2 years. ChatGPT, 5 days. By 2025, while Musk was busy starting his own competing AI ventures, probably out of spite, let's be honest, OpenAI had already partnered with Microsoft for billions, released GPT-4, and fundamentally changed how hundreds of millions of people work, create, and think. The timeline here is actually insane when you break it down. From founding to world domination in under a decade. Most companies take that long just to become profitable. But Sam Altman wasn't satisfied with just software dominance. He had his eyes on something bigger. And that's where our story takes an unexpected turn. The Dream Team. Now, imagine you're Sam Altman in early 2023. You've just launched the fastest-growing consumer product in history. You're sitting on top of the AI world. What's your next move? Most CEOs would milk ChatGPT for everything it's worth. But Altman? He picks up the phone and calls the one person who turned a computer company into the world's first trillion-dollar empire. Jony Ive, the design genius behind every Apple product you've ever loved. But wait, here's what makes this even crazier. Ive had already left Apple in 2019 to start his own design firm called Love From. He was done with big tech. He was designing furniture, for crying out loud. The man who created the iPhone was literally making coffee tables. So how did Altman convince him to come back to tech? Well, it turns out they'd been secretly meeting for 2 years. Not in some Silicon Valley boardroom, but in Ive's own design studio, sketching ideas, philosophizing about the future of computing. Altman later revealed something fascinating. He told Ive that computers can now see, think, and understand, but we're still interacting with them like it's 2007. Think about that for a second. We have AI that can write novels, create art, and solve complex problems, but we're still typing on glass rectangles? It's like having a Ferrari engine in a horse carriage. Ive apparently lit up at this challenge. As he put it, he felt grateful for the opportunity to use everything he'd learned in 30 years towards something genuinely new. And when Jony Ive says something is genuinely new, you pay attention. This is the guy who made us believe we needed a $1,000 phone upgrade every year. On May 21st, 2025, they made it official. But they didn't just announce a partnership. The billion-dollar bet that shocked Silicon Valley. 2 months later, OpenAI did something nobody expected. They didn't just partner with Ive, they straight up bought his entire company. We're talking about a deal worth between $5 to $6.5 billion in equity. Let that sink in. OpenAI spent more money on acquiring a design studio than most countries spend on education. They absorbed 55 of the world's best engineers, designers, and scientists in one move. These aren't just any engineers. These are people handpicked by Jony Ive, many of them Apple veterans who helped create products that defined a generation. But here's the really interesting part that most people missed. In their announcement, OpenAI said something peculiar. They called this team the best hardware and software engineers, technologists, physicists, scientists. Wait, physicists? Why do you need physicists to build a consumer device? Unless you're not just building a device, you're building something that fundamentally changes how we interact with the physical world. And that's when the leaks started coming. Wired called it one of the most ambitious AI hardware projects to date. Financial Times reporters started whispering about prototypes. Supply chain sources in China began talking, and what they're describing? It's nothing like what anyone expected. The device that sees, hears, and thinks. Okay, so what exactly are they building? Forget everything you think you know about smart devices. This isn't a phone. It's not smart glasses. It's not another Alexa cylinder sitting on your counter. According to multiple leaked reports, picture something about the size of your palm. Maybe a sleek black cube or a smooth pebble. No screen. Let me repeat that because it's important. Absolutely no screen. In an age where we're glued to our screens for 7+ hours a day, they're building a device with no screen at all. But here's where it gets wild. This thing is always on, always listening, always watching. Now, before you freak out about privacy, and we'll get to that, understand what this actually means. You know how with Siri or Alexa, you have to say, "Hey Siri," every single time? This device doesn't need that. It's using advanced AI to understand context. It knows when you're talking to it versus when you're just having a conversation with someone else. It builds a memory of your routines, your preferences, your life. Imagine walking into your kitchen and just saying out loud, "What should I make for dinner with what's in my fridge?" The device sees your fridge contents through its camera, knows your dietary preferences from previous conversations, checks what you ate this week, and suggests a recipe. No app opening, no typing, no "Hey assistant," just conversation. Or picture this. You're working on a project and you mutter, "I need to remember to email Jennifer about that proposal tomorrow." The device just remembers. It doesn't interrupt you with a confirmation. It doesn't make you repeat it. Tomorrow, it gently reminds you. One insider described it as a friend who's a computer, rather than a computer trying to be a friend. Altman specifically said he doesn't want it to feel like some weird AI girlfriend from a Black Mirror episode. They're apparently agonizing over every detail of its personality and voice to make it feel natural, helpful, but not creepy. And get this, they're manufacturing it with Luxshare and Gertech, the same companies that make iPhones and AirPods. This isn't some startup prototype that'll never see the light of day. They're preparing for massive scale. Altman even claimed they'll ship faster than any company has ever shipped 100 million of something new before. That's not confidence. That's either genius or delusion. But when you look at who's involved, building the impossible. So how do you actually build something this ambitious? The challenge here isn't just technical. It's existential. They're trying to fit the power of GPT-4 into something the size of a baseball. Think about what your phone does when you use ChatGPT. It's sending your request to massive server farms, processing it through billions of parameters, then sending it back. All of that computing power somehow needs to work in this tiny device. The physics alone are mind-bending. This is probably why they hired physicists. They're not just optimizing software. They're potentially developing entirely new types of chips, new ways of processing AI locally versus in the cloud. Microsoft's Azure infrastructure is almost certainly involved, given their multi-billion-dollar partnership. But here's what's really clever about their approach. By combining Ive's hardware team directly with OpenAI's AI researchers, every single component can be optimized together. The microphone placement can be designed specifically for the AI's audio processing. The camera can be calibrated exactly for the vision models. The form factor can be shaped precisely for how the AI interprets gesture and proximity. It's like the difference between buying a suit off the rack versus having one custom tailored. Everything fits perfectly because it was designed together from the start. The prototypes are already being tested. Sources say they're in active development right now in 2025, with some reporting technical roadblocks, which, honestly, you'd expect when you're trying to reinvent computing. The target? Late 2026 for the first consumer release. Let's zoom out for a second and think about what this actually means for your daily life. We've been living in the attention economy for the past 2 decades. Apps fighting for your eyeballs, notifications pulling you back to your screen. The average person checks their phone 96 times per day. That's once every 10 minutes of your waking life. Altman and Ive are betting that we're ready for something different. They've specifically said they want to wean users away from screens. This isn't just about making AI more accessible. It's about fundamentally changing our relationship with technology. Imagine if instead of pulling out your phone 96 times a day, you just talked, asked questions, got answers, moved on with your life. No infinite scroll. No dopamine hijacking notifications. Just ambient intelligence that helps when you need it and disappears when you don't. Here's a practical example that blew my mind when I thought about it. You're cooking dinner, hands covered in flour, and you need to convert measurements. Right now, you'd wash your hands, unlock your phone, open an app or browser, type in your question, read the answer, probably get distracted by a notification, and 5 minutes later, remember you were cooking. With this device, you just ask. You get an answer. You keep cooking. It sounds simple, but multiply that by every interaction you have with technology throughout your day. The time saved, the focus maintained, the presence preserved. Or consider this, real-time translation. Not through your phone screen, but naturally in conversation. You're traveling. Someone speaks to you in another language, and your little AI companion just translates, speaking in your ear or out loud. No app needed. No awkward phone pointing, just understanding. The implications for accessibility are huge too. Elderly people who struggle with smartphones, people with vision impairments, kids who shouldn't be staring at screens all day. This could be the great equalizer that makes AI truly available to everyone. But, and this is a big but, there's a dark side we need to talk about. The privacy problem nobody wants to address. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room. A device that's always listening, always watching, always learning about you. That's either the ultimate personal assistant or the ultimate surveillance device. There's no middle ground here. Remember when people freaked out about Alexa potentially listening to their conversations? This makes Alexa look like a toy. This device would literally know everything. When you wake up, what you talk about, who you're with, what your home looks like, your daily routines, your private conversations. OpenAI says they're taking privacy seriously, but let's be real. Every tech company says that. The question is, how much are you willing to trade for convenience? Because make no mistake, this is a trade-off. But here's an interesting counter-argument. Your phone already tracks everywhere you go, everything you search, everyone you talk to. At least this device would presumably process more things locally, using edge computing rather than sending everything to the cloud. Ironically, it might actually be more private than your current smartphone. And there's another factor people aren't considering. Jony Ive spent his entire career at Apple, a company that made privacy a core selling point. He's not going to put his name on something that's basically 1984 in a box. His reputation is worth more than any paycheck. Still, the concerns are valid. What happens when this device gets hacked? What if the government demands access? What about kids growing up with an AI that knows everything about them from birth? These aren't questions with easy answers, but they're questions we're going to have to grapple with, because if history teaches us anything, why this time might actually be different now. You might be thinking, haven't we seen this movie before? And you'd be right to be skeptical. Remember Google Glass? Dead. The humane AI pin? Flopped hard. Meta's smart glasses? Still niche. Magic Leap? A multi-billion-dollar faceplant? The tech graveyard is full of devices that were supposed to change everything. So why would this be different? 3 reasons that actually matter. First, timing. Those previous devices tried to solve problems that didn't really exist yet. Nobody needed smart glasses in 2013 because smartphones were still new and exciting. But now, we're collectively exhausted by our screens. The problem is real, visceral, and universal. Parents worry about their kids' screen time. Adults feel their attention spans shrinking. We're ready for something different. Second, the AI is finally good enough. Previous attempts were basically voice assistants with fancy hardware. But GPT-4 and beyond. This is AI that can actually understand context, maintain conversations, and provide genuinely useful help. It's the difference between a dictionary and a tutor. Third, and this might be the most important, it's Jony Ive and Sam Altman. When Ive designed the iPhone, people said nobody would pay $500 for a phone. When Altman launched ChatGPT, people said nobody would pay for AI. They've both proven they can create products that define categories, not just fill them. There's something else too. Something more subtle, but perhaps more important. The real reason this matters. You know what's fascinating? In all their announcements and leaked conversations, Altman and Ive keep using words like wonder, delight, and magic. These aren't tech specs, they're emotions. Altman specifically said he wants to recreate the feeling he had using early Apple computers 30 years ago. That sense of possibility. That childhood wonder when technology felt like magic, not like work. When was the last time a piece of technology made you feel wonder? Probably the first time you used ChatGPT, right? That holy crap, I'm talking to an AI and it actually understands me moment. Now imagine that feeling, but embedded in your daily life. Not through a screen, but through natural interaction. This isn't really about building a better gadget. It's about changing the fundamental metaphor of computing. For 50 years, we've been stuck with the desktop metaphor. Files, folders, windows. Even our phones are just portable desktops. But what if computing was more like having a conversation with a knowledgeable friend? What if instead of learning how to use technology, technology learned how to understand us? That's the real revolution here, not the hardware, impressive as it might be. Not even the AI, powerful as it is. It's the idea that we might finally be ready to move beyond the screen age into something more natural, more human. The future is closer than you think. So here's where we stand. Sam Altman and Jony Ive have assembled what might be the most talented team in tech history. They've raised billions. They've partnered with Apple's manufacturers. They're building something that could either be the next iPhone or the next Google Glass. Late 2026. Mark your calendars. That's when we'll know if this ambitious bet pays off. Will we all be walking around with AI pebbles in our pockets, having conversations with our digital companions? Or will this be another cautionary tale about Silicon Valley hubris? Here's what I think, and tell me if you agree in the comments. Even if this specific device fails, it represents something important. It's the first serious attempt to imagine computing beyond the smartphone. And once that door opens, once we start seriously questioning whether glass rectangles are the best we can do, there's no going back. The future of technology might not be something we look at, but something we talk to. Something that understands not just our words, but our context, our needs, our intentions. Whether it's OpenAI's device or something else entirely, that future is coming. The only question is, are you ready for it? Let me know what you think. Would you trust an always-on AI device in your home? What would you want it to do that your phone can't? And honestly, do you think Altman and Ive can pull this off? Or is this just another tech fantasy? Drop your thoughts below, and if you want to stay updated on this story as it develops, you know what to do. This is just the beginning, and trust me, the next year is going to be wild. Until next time, keep questioning what's possible.